about nearly 2,100 homes. It's a free energy user. So every one of these stores, they do one of the. So here you can go to the ocean, go out there to Savannah. When we first entered that furthest section down there, it was looking for us. So when they were down here, somebody always was down here looking for 4 hours a day. But if anybody wanted to come down, they could exit out, go check out other things. I just wanted to point out to the air handler, this is one of 52 that we have in here, and you can see the metal coils. And so you can see there's different temperatures of water. We'll talk more about that. But the water will enter into the coils depending on its temperature. They flow air over the coils at 35 to 40 miles an hour. So if the coils are hot, the air will be warm. If the coils have cold water, they'll chill. Right? So that's how they create the temperature with their air handlers. Let's go this way.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Stop here too. These machines are the biggest users of energy. These are all involved in the ocean. So we have 700,000 gallons of ocean water. And in order for it to move, these pumps have to push it to create the weight. Alright? And you can see all the ocean water going in, going out, and then over here. This metal container is a heat exchanger. So this is how they heat the ocean or keep it at a constant temperature. Right now, we're doing an experiment. There's 2 big arcs underneath the ocean that are hanging from this scaffolding. And they have little squares of tile attached to it. They have the glow. And they have these attached inside this scaffolding. And what they started with about 2 months ago is dropping the temperature to 69 degrees in the water. And now they're slowly heating it up. So that maybe by August or September, it'll be 89 degrees. And all the while, they're monitoring the coral, seeing how they're doing, who's surviving, what's happening. So that's a huge coral study.
Is that 89 degree? That's not a natural ocean temperature anywhere,
That's
is
what
it?
some of our oceans are getting to be that warm.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
especially around the equator.
Okay.
It's very warm. It's like a hot tub. That's right.
Watch out for the pipes.
It's a big thing. So you can hear the air handlers. So building this building, it took 4 years. Private investment entrepreneur, a very young man. He was the son of an oil tycoon from Texas. He still is. And had a lot of money and heard about this idea and was excited. And so his investment went here. Ed Bass is his name. He is still alive today. He still helps a little bit with the funding as far as the energy costs, supporting us. But right now, the University of Arizona has been donated to. So it's now university run, but only 25% of that money actually comes from the university. The rest of it comes from donations. It comes from grant money. So all these experiments that are happening now are really excited about. But in the day, 91 and 93, 8 people came in here. And it happened to be 4 men, 4 women. One person was down here 24 hours a day. One person was upstairs cooking dinner, breakfast, and lunch. And probably the rest of them were out in their garden or their half-acre farm, collecting, weeding, planting, a lot of work. Anyway, underneath the road here, because the road is right above us, there's wires, and there's pipes, and they all go to different areas. So these water pipes all go to these 3 big towers. So we have 3 big cooling towers. And the cooling tower stays in there, the water stays in there, and it stays at a temperature at around 65 degrees. Okay? The energy center, which maybe you've seen already, that's where all of the gauges are, so that they're able to monitor every single area in here, checking temperature, humidity, rainfall, pressure, et cetera, So people were in that area supporting them when they were living in here. But nobody from that area ever came in here should something fail. So they had to know how to fix everything at home. They had their own machine shop. They had extra pieces and parts. So they took about 3 months to study all of this and learn. Pretty amazing. If they ever got stuck and like, I've done everything I could and I don't know what to do, there was a red telephone. They could pick the red telephone up and get it right away to the emergency center, to the energy center, sorry. Otherwise, they walked around with radios, just like we do now. So, 91 to 93, they had generators that were in the energy center, and they used natural gas and they used diesel fuel. Today, the generators are there, but we're on the grid for San Carlos Reservation. They have solar, hydro, coal. So that's where our energy comes from now. The water temperature. Rainforest always needs to be warm, right? They always want it warm and humid in there. The desert usually kind of a little bit cooler, but much drier. So when they chose the biomes, they chose them according to mostly needed amount of water needed and subtle variations in temperature. So you could have an 80-degree temperature here and a maybe 90-degree temperature there, but you're going to have a lot more rainfall in that forest, very little rainfall in the desert. So it was easy for them to moderate and to keep all those biomes sort of in sync when they were in here. Now it's kind of open and everything goes and anything goes. Showing you guys what food looks like when it grows, what avocados look like, papayas, coffee, bananas. A lot of people haven't seen those plants ever, but we eat them. Coffee and cacao or chocolate are being grown in the rainforest at different levels. And one of the thoughts are, if it gets too hot in our rainforest, will they still produce coffee and chocolate? What if we had to live without that? That's a big what if. So, anyway, so
In the winter, when it's getting freezing, how do they manage to keep the inside getting cold and outside temperature?
What's that?
With all the glass, how do they manage the temperature when it's freezing?
The air
outside?
handlers. Yeah, the air handlers. They just, so there's 26 air handlers, 52, 26 that are always actively operating. And they're underneath all the biomes.
Okay.
And then they can send different temperatures of water through. So you've got that 62-degree temperature water, but if it's needed to be warmer because it's freezing outside, they can send it over into a pipe through into the energy center where they have a boiler.
Oh.
And that water can be heated up as hot as 170. And then that water is pushed through and pushed up through the air handler, all those coils.
Okay.
And they have temperature and gauges in every one of the biomes. So they know temperature, they know humidity.
Okay.
And then if they needed cooler, vice versa, they would run the water through one of the air handlers, take it from 62-degree temperature, move it over into a chiller, and bring it down as low as 40. So for a really, really, really hot day, they could cool off the desert a little bit more so. All the windows are double paned with a film in between. So, and they don't allow UVA or UVB light to come through. So that takes away from a lot of the heat. Okay? But nevertheless, it still gets hot and they still need airflow. Yeah. Yeah.
Do they then supplement the UV for the plants?
No, plants don't need UV.
At all?
So in our studies, we've learned they like the blue light and the red light, lower lights of wavelength, and that's what they have set up inside that freight farm. Yeah, how about that? And they are very hot. Those two colors are very warm, and so they have to put a lot of air conditioning in there. It's a big energy user. But the university's working on that. The students were asked to develop a system to supplement it with some of their solar panels.
Do
So,
they use any geothermal?
no, we haven't used geothermal here.
Okay.
Yeah. Some areas have a lot more access to it, I guess, than others. North Carolina is a big one, I think up in Montana.
Yeah, Colorado is,
Okay,
people starting.
okay, okay, okay. So, let's see, chiller, the boiler, the cold water. So when you think about when it was a closed system, very little air in here ever leaked out. Actually, they measured it and they said less than 10% a year, so less than 1% a month. So they were very, very, very tightly sealed. And because of that, when the sunshine did come through and it did heat up the air molecules, they needed to go somewhere, so that therefore the lung. So that's why we're going to head that way now. Okay? All right.
I'm just curious. It took 4 years to build.
Yep.
How many years of planning did it take?
Oh, wow. Good question. I would say at least 10.
Yeah,
I would. And it was like I think 22 different like subcontractors in here working, like not even knowing what the other one was doing. But they were working so fast to get it done, right? And the intention was to build it to last 100 years. With the intention every 2 years a new group comes in to study.
Oh, okay.
But they never got a chance to study because they were busy eating. I'm trying to eat, right? Feed themselves. And so they tried it again, but the oxygen level went down again. And they're like, okay, that's it, done. We've learned our lesson. We haven't yet learned the computers. And fortunately, the first group that came in to study as a scientific study was Columbia University. And so they came here in 1996 through 2001. And they were here to study the effect of carbon dioxide on the ocean. And they also they cleared off their half an acre of land where they plotted their plants and they grew cottonwood trees. And then they sealed each section off after growing them up for 6 years and gave them different amounts of CO2, 400, 800, 1200, to see if plants doubled or tripled. Plants just about doubled their growth, more CO2, but not tripled. So there's a part where it just can't take more. That's where we also learned the coral will completely die at 480 parts of CO2 dissolved or in the atmosphere. So we're at 450 now in our atmosphere. So the coral is kind of struggling around the world. We know that. And you know, kind of like all things, change happens, and maybe there'll be some adaptations with some of the coral, and they'll be able to regrow. But we've seen a lot of destruction in several of the areas. But there are so many communities, so many universities working on restoration of coral. It's pretty exciting if you ever got into that as a field of interest. All right, let's head on now.
Sounded like they all rotated. I'm sure everyone would be cross-trained and everything. I was gonna say, what about when we get sick? So if you're isolated, then when we get sick.
Anybody who want to just take a picture right here, you can, and step back, because it's kind of a neat picture. However, we can't go in yet. So hold on. Camp Invention? Do you love it? Yeah, where are you learning at this?
It's in Great Junction, Colorado.
I taught that 1 year ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, 2 years in a row at my school. It was
I lived there for a few
so
years.
much fun.
Yeah.
Very creative.
Autumn. Yeah, step back for 2
You should
minutes.
too.
Autumn came in when she looked at me. There, thank you. Is that okay if I, yeah, okay.
Okay, before we start,
Facebook, it's just going for their
Thank you.
parents.
Thank you. Watch your head. We're going to drop down about that much. Okay? So watch your head, watch your step.
Watch your head. Watch your step. Smack, trip, and fall.
Do a slide on this thing. Yeah, the slide. Little skateboards.
Heading into the lawn. Down the bottom.
It's a small group. So wait for everybody to catch up. Range Junction, Colorado. I used to live in Colorado when I was little. See, I was 8, 9, 10.
Found the level
Colorado
spot.
Springs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my dad was at the Air Force
Air Force
camp.
Academy.
Yeah. Okay, watch your head, watch your step. Here we go. Up and over. Over the step. Underneath. We're at ground level, believe it or not. We'll walk out that door, we'll be right at ground level. Absolutely. You know, what was interesting about how they created this place is they dug it out on an angle. So even though we were coming down and it felt like we were 3 stories underneath the ground, we're ground level right now. So everything would roll down this way, right? There's 2 lungs for the same reason they doubled the amount of air handlers in case something fails, but only used 1 lung at a time. And it's kind of a misnamed word. I mean, it's not really a lung. It's more like a diaphragm. It expands when the air pressure increases, when it gets hot. It contracts when the air gets cooler and comes together. Okay? And so Bill Dempster figured that out. This creative mind. And he figured out, okay, I know the volume of all the air inside the biosphere, and it will never get hotter than X number of degrees. So this will rise no higher than 35 feet. But I have to build it 180 feet in length. Okay. But like every engineer, what if I made a mistake and I didn't do the right calculation and it got too hot and they never could get the temperature down? So he put 3 buckets in. And if you just take 1 bucket and follow it up, there's a chain. At the top of the chain, there's a white metal hammer. And if ever it got so hot and it exceeded that 35 feet, the metal hammer would break the glass and the 12 windows would pop off, hopefully saving all those beautiful 6,500 windows in the biomes. Never happened. Never happened. So the water is only in this one and not the other one, but it used to be 5 feet deep. It's not anymore. It's probably less than a foot. But it was put in because the state of Arizona came here and said, hey, if you guys have a fire, we're not going to be able to get to you in time. I mean, think about it, 35 plus years ago, I don't even know where the fire stations were. I don't even know if Golden Ranch was here. So they had to put in enough water in case, and they had to pipe and put spigots in every single one of their rooms. But they never had a fire. So it was good.
So then at its coldest, are those touching the floor? Or
Yes.
theoretically?
Yes. So it's interesting the way it's built. So this is made of aluminum, but it weighs 16 tons. And attached to it by those little rivets is a very thin rubber made by DuPont called Hyplon, which is less than 1/8 of an inch in thickness, super flexible. So small changes in air pressure will make it go up or make it come down. But it's artificially induced now to be up. And why is that? For show and tell. Because if we're open to the environment as we are, and air pressure out there is the same as air pressure in here, that leg would be on the ground and the rubber would be this way. Okay? Which is what it was when Columbia came in. So they had to figure it out because if you look at the structure of the leg, there's the attachment to the disc and then the little short leg. That was all that was on it when they lived in here. So it literally could come all the way down and go all the way up. In a cold, cold, cold day, right? And all this apparatus here was not here. You see all the walkway and that great thing. That was not here. But you see there is an indentation which would cover the two pumps that were here. So, pretty cool.
I can see why we call it a lumbar. It's contraction.
Yeah, inhalation and contraction, right.
Yeah, I get the
We're going to see it. We'll see a little bit of that. But let me explain why it's up, okay? So what they've done is, you know, we're underneath this dome, right? Okay, and there's an airspace right here. And that airspace is like a little donut, but it continues to the top of this. So it's on top of that rubber, on top of that aluminum, that 20-ton structure. So if you take air out of there and push it in here, now it's a change in amount of air. So now more air is here, pushing this up, less air there, and it can float up. Just like the reason an airplane gets off the ground, right? The airplane moves along the tarmac, the faster it goes, the air going across the wings has lower pressure, and the air pressure just lifts it up. Science is very my favorite subject. So we're going to exit out, and you're going to get blown out. So hold on to your hats, and we're going to watch it come down just a little bit. It won't go all the way down, but it'll go down a little bit, enough for you to see. So you can either, I always suggest looking at just find one of the legs and looking where it winds up to that black line, that black tube. And I'll try to allow it to stay open long enough for it to come and meet that. Okay?
Okay.
All right? Sound cool? Now, echoes are pretty cool, right?
Yes.
So we can do an echo if you're all okay. Nobody's ears are going to bother them, are they? And the best way to do it is just a 1, 2, 3, and do a little loud clap. Okay? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Does anybody have a beautiful singing voice?
They wouldn't let us do this in the caverns.
Because if somebody would love to sing a song, it would be awesome. No singers? I'm not one. No. Go down. Above your hat. It's nice and
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's moving down.
it is.
Oops, sorry.
That's what being inside the pool feels like.
It's going from 6 inches, 7 inches. The ones on the
feels good.
There's the fans. See that? And so when you come up here, you can see the rubber right there. See it?
yeah.
And then there's that airspace right up there. And there's the windows. And the windows are UVA and UVB resistant.
So the rubber's okay.
So the rubber's okay.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, yeah. And that rubber's very expensive.
I'm sure.
You And that was that.
Yeah. So if there was the pressure increase and they had to break, they actually break the windows and it's no longer sealed.
That's right.
Interesting. Because you'd think, couldn't they have made like an airtight, I don't know, rubber, and then as long as it opens and the pressure is outwards, wouldn't it still be sealed and then it could close again? Like the choice to make it
Oh,
a
yeah.
one and done is interesting.
Yeah, you're right.
Or it's the same.
Yeah, you would think
Just
that.
seal itself again.
Yeah, you would think. I don't know why they didn't think that. They didn't have you around.
I am not that kind of science.
You weren't born yet.
No.
All right, well, you standing over there, do you feel the air coming in?
Yeah.
So there's still more pressure out there than in here. So now your hair went this way, whoosh, gonna go back. So hold on to your hats and watch your head and your step. I'll lead you out.